You drunk enough?
I'm drunk enough. All right. Is this working? Is this working? Are we on? Oh, we're on. Hello. Okay, great. Hello. Look at this. It's another Today's Decay, and here I am uh, with my special guest Howie Pyro. Hello, Howie.
Booty.
So what we're doing here, if you haven't seen this before, is we're celebrating births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time on the day in question, and this day is June 19th. So I thought I'd call on my friend Howie Pyro here for some help, because I had a couple of things here that I really dig and a couple of things that I could use some help on. So how is
He
he?
needed a little. He needed a little lift and separate.
Yeah.
He needed some lube.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm glad you can get that off my chest. But we have going chronologically. We have a couple of things to talk about here first. Although it wasn't on my original list, and it should have been, was June 19th in 1865 is when all slaves were declared free people in Texas, and I feel like this is like taken over America, if not the world, in the last couple of weeks, and I'm all for supporting this. So that's exciting, and I feel like it would be a wrong thing to do to gloss over that. So all for this, and otherwise we've been going off of this Midnight Monster Hop calendar we've been doing for a bunch of years, where basically every year we add more things that like I stumble upon and think, all right, let's add this to it, and so now this is a part of it, and all for that. After that, John Hartfield was. I've screwed up his name. John Hartfield was born on this day in 1891. For those of you that don't know his name, John Hartfield was a 1920s, 30s, and 40s Dada, and I'm not sure if you'd call him surrealist artist, but I mean, like he was doing stuff that like would be utterly timely today, similar to what we're talking about for the Juneteenth holiday. He did such wonderful anti-fascist, anti-authoritarian, anti-Nazi artwork that was pulled, if not stolen, directly from the punk movement in the 70s and 80s in such a beautiful way.
Also in the krautrock movement, there was some appropriation.
Was it? How?
I think on an Amanpool album.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, perhaps.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, between Crass and Discharge, I feel like everybody owes their aesthetic values.
Of course
to
they do.
him.
Of course they do.
Well, yeah. But I'm not sure that everybody realizes it.
You know that I played with Crass in 1978 in New York before they made a record and they can't play.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know that, but every conversation I have with you involves these type of stories. So please tell me more. How is it that Crass came here in '78 to New York?
I think that G, who did a lot of their artwork, or did the artwork, not the logo, but she was a big commercial artist, which is where money came from a lot of the time, because she was a very well-known, high-paid commercial artist. And if you know anything about them, there's a flexi disc that was in like a ladies' wedding magazine of Crass. It's very rare, and that's why it got and how it got in there, because she was, a commercial artist doing stuff, and she could pull that prank. So I think she had was coming here, and the band was brand new, and they all came with her, and they booked these two gigs at this Quando Center on Houston and Second Street, and the Blessed and the Contortions and some other bands played with them, and my bestest friend back then, Anxiety, met them there and went back to England with them and became a big part of their whole world,
Wow.
etc. And we all had a big reunion at Coney Island High when the Stratford Mercenaries played.
CBGBs.
And
did the Stratford Mercenaries play Coney too?
what?
Did Stratford Mercenaries play Coney Island High as well? I was there for the CBGB show.
Yeah.
I
don't know if it was on that same trip or not, but
I would say like mid '90s, give or take.
Yeah. When that club was open, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I interviewed Steve Ignorant on that tour, and it was really difficult. I felt like it was a really dark time for them. Maybe I'm wrong, but it turned me off to like all the political punk stuff actually. It just felt like
a lot of time had gone by.
Yeah, everybody was just really upset and like rightfully so, but like broken. And I as a young person at the time, I just felt like these are my figureheads, and they all seem so lost, and I was really upset by it. But I interviewed like Dick Lucas around the same time, and Steve Ignorant on that Stratford Mercenaries tour, and
he looked like a skinhead, which was funny.
Yeah. Well, I would say he still probably does. Anyway, in other words.
Anyway.
Yeah. The point is, John Hartfield is a timeless artist, and if anybody has the ability to take a look at his work today, it couldn't be more timely than on his very birthday.
I was looking at it on your site earlier, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It is very timely.
Yeah.
And very, very risky at that time.
Right? Yeah. And it's wild to think that like this was shocking for punk people to basically just take over, like take over on themselves 50 years later.
Yeah.
And here we are today in the same world. I would never have thought it. I feel like I was very intensely political when I was a teenager, and now it absolutely is merited again. And I never thought it would be necessary, because I feel like things were like dying down, but they weren't. Here we are today again.
More blatant.
Yeah. Meanwhile, somewhat changing gears, but only for a moment. Here's something that's.
Meanwhile, back in San Francisco.
Well, no, not yet. Meanwhile, back in the ranch, in 1957 was the day that on this day that I Was a Teenage Werewolf premiered, guaranteed to put hair on your chest, starring
and your face.
Yeah, well, but everywhere. Yeah, starring Michael Landon and directed by Roger Corman for AIP, American International Pictures. This came out.
Did Roger Corman direct it? I don't think so.
He did not?
I thought he produced it.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway.
Wait. All right. So in that case, who directed it? I'm not sure.
Well, if I looked it up, I'd have to move or use my phone or ruin your show.
Yeah. Don't ruin the show. Whatever you do, let me ruin the show.
I knew his son for a while.
Roger Corman?
When I first moved out here. He didn't really like talking about werewolves.
Really? Why?
He was beyond that, I guess.
You're saying he's a little too long in the tooth?
Oh, long in the face.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
his humor wasn't quite as sharp as it used to be.
Okay. All right. All right.
um. Anyway,
Yeah.
How to Make a Monster is better than both of those put together. So.
How to Make a Monster is great, but I do love I Was a Teenage Werewolf. I gotta say, I must
Yeah.
say, yeah, yeah. So the point is, this was released on this day in '57, and in 1964 was the day that Carol Doda premiered with her Malakini at the Condor, right? At the Condor Club in San Francisco.
The Condor Club, yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her monokini, first of all.
Tell me
It
more.
was Rudy Gernreich,
Uh-huh.
mod designer genius, who designed the monokini. And he had been trying to do something like that for years before that. And she just was like a popular San Francisco go-go dancer, and she decided to wear it.
Uh-huh.
And at the Condor, and it caused a really massive good and bad sort of sensation. I heard that someone in the Midwest also tried to wear it and got arrested. But they didn't work at a mob-run strip club, so there you go.
Uh-huh.
Though that created a massive worldwide, I guess you could call it a fad, where the word topless came from.
Mm-hmm.
Topless go-go dancers all came from that one movement. It got so much publicity that there is no magazine from that time period, underground like men's magazines or overground like Time or Newsweek or whatever, that do not talk about that. Such a big deal.
Yeah.
I have at least 25 or 30 records, like rock and roll records, like Topless a Go-Go, and the Topless, and just goofing on it or thinking about it. Like any fad, it produced millions of records and rip-offs and ideas. But unlike every other fad, this was a fad that no one could participate in. But you'd have to go to pay to watch it. So
sure.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But there was so much topless. The word topless was like psychedelic or groovy or whatever,
Yeah. I was saying earlier, I feel like she's like a rock star for the time, and it's like almost like, it's almost like Wendy O. Williams type level of like, here's this like blonde woman who's just like a force of nature, who's just it's what she wants to do, and it represents sexual freedom, and whether that's to say like it's what she wants to do because it's what she wants to do, or versus it's what she wants to do because she's making money off of it, because she is. Either way, like it's female empowerment regardless, and that's exciting.
She was like the face or the boobs of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And of America, in a sense. Right here I have and this postcard is from 1978, so even 14 years later, it was still a thing, so the Germs and their friends went to San Francisco right after I left LA the first time I went there, and they sent me a postcard. Of course, it's a Carol Doda postcard, and it says, "Everybody needs milk, even Carol Dodas." Trying to censor this thing. So
Yeah.
And then you can see on top the names. It says Patty, Lorna, Sally, and Darby at the end. And it came from the famous punk building where all the punks lived, the Canterbury in Hollywood, right across from the Pussycat Theater.
Uh-huh.
And the Mask Punk Club was in the basement of the Pussycat Theater. Um, and they wrote, San Francisco sucks. Frank Discussion says hi. Want a light? And then they gave me the weather for some reason. The actual postcard says Miss Carol Doda is now appearing at the Condor in a topless and nude musical review. But then to continue on, it says, ha ha, we are not in San Francisco. Yay, just got back. Lauren, who is this girl everyone hated, supported us up there, as usual, and rumor has it that you are her boyfriend.
Is that true?
She also says she's coming to stay with you. Mom! Exclamation point.
Yeah, but
you to join the Lauren fan club. More later, love Patty and Lorna. And then it says, finger fuck a retarded girl. And it's address to Blessed, Eileen Pope, Howie Pyro. All Carol Doda a go-go.
Very nice. Yeah.
So, I'm glad I saved that one.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'm guessing this wasn't the girl you were dating?
No. She would just try and buy it. You know, we were all like 17 and 18. She was just some dumb girl who would buy everyone's friendship, I guess, or something. She was nice enough. You could see her and the girl who, and Lorna, and the girl who wrote the postcard, and me, and Darby, and a million other people in the Devo video "Come Back Johnny." But you can see Lauren in Rock and Roll High School online, which is also filmed at the Devo at the Roxy.
Huh.
So which brings us to this next incredible thing. And I was wrong when we talked earlier. This is even better.
Uh-huh. What do you got?
Most of you know who the Coquettes are. They were a San Francisco troupe of drag queens with giant beards. And they took acid all day, every day. And I mean literally. And they put on these huge film shows. They were obsessed with movies, and one of them became the way they were after seeing the movie She Freak on acid at the Pussycat Theater. And they started this stuff, right? And they would put on these live shows. A lot of famous people came out of that, actually, but they put on these live shows, and they were nuts, and they were hugely popular. And they put on this thing called the Nocturnal Dream shows at the Palace Theater in San Francisco, which is a huge old movie theater. And you know, they would have like a triple feature and show, you know, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Frankenstein, and like, and then they all come out like monsters and do weird songs and lip sync, you know, to weird records and stuff. And it was really an amazing kind of thing that I wish I could have seen. There's a documentary about them. They started around '68, and I guess someone made a movie. Can I go off of here? I guess I can't. Shit, I wanted to read this thing. Um, how can I do this here? Someone made a movie called. I have the poster. I've never seen it. I would really like to though. Someone made a movie called Miss Carol Doda in The Rise and Fall of the World as Seen from a Sexual Position. Try and flip this photo here. Okay. So here's the poster.
Awesome.
For that.
And this is all like what you're talking about. It's like late '60s shit, right?
This came out in '72, so they were still going on '72. So the movie came out in '72, and this is the premiere. And they also did a live show. And it just says like an Okimo Orgy, the nude rock light show, Henry VIII and his chicken delight. It's just insane. Nocturnal Dream Shows presents the world sneak premiere of A.T. Meyer's spectacular Hollywood film epic plus live stage show, both starring the scintillating, titillating Miss Carol Doda at the Palace Theater, Columbus and Powell. Yeah. January 15th.
Wow.
Now, what was the other thing? There was something else the movie actually was released on June 15th, 1972, which is a weird coincidence for today as well.
It was just the other day,
yeah. I'm gonna try and there's a really great description for the movie. Like at the end, the movie winds up with Carol Doda like being on top of the Empire State Building with King Kong, whoa.
But like you're saying, this is like a Coquettes produced event that like they didn't know what they were doing and it was just nonsense.
Yeah, but the Coquettes are in the movie. They're also in the movie, the Coquettes, and that's a movie. It's not. It was also a live show, but the poster thing is an actual movie, and I guess it came out in '72. And I've never heard of anyone who's seen it, but that is something pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing my iPad right now.
Okay.
This is the Wall of Something Weird video.
Awesome.
One of them. There's another wall.
I assume you need 4 walls to make the place not fall apart.
Here's some stuff.
Awesome.
Here's beyond Carol Doda is Chesty Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an autographed picture of Chesty Morgan. And there's me as a teenager with Screaming Jay Hawkins. There's the devil.
I'm guessing you weren't there for the supposed fist fight in front of Continental with Screaming Jay Hawkins and who was he fighting? Escarita, right?
Say that again?
I want to say it's a Hound story of a fist fight in front of Continental between Escarita and Screaming Jay Hawkins.
I saw Screaming Jay at Continental when it was called Jack the Ripper, and the poster is probably within a few feet from where I'm standing. But maybe we can add it in later. I've started a few projects since I was locked up in
Uh-huh.
this house.
Yeah.
And so things aren't all where they should be at the
Okay.
moment. But let me look here and see. Du- 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 du. Um, There it is. Okay. So you can talk.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say that because I pretty much I end these things in general with let's say framing devices, which is to say that for San Francisco in the Bay Area, if people were interested, you could and or had the money, considering the world we're living in today. You have the Bay Area Anti-Repression Committee Bail Fund for those who were looking to put money towards maybe you could do it in Carol Doda's name, considering it's an important day in her life. You have that going on in the San Francisco area, and I was going to say that for AIP, you have the Action Bail Fund in LA. That is all to say that you put that to Roger Corman, Michael Landon, anything to do with any of their 1960s monster rock and roll productions would all be positive things to contribute to, So
Yeah.
so anyway, all I'm saying is that's how usually we end these things. But Howie,
Okay, well,
what do you got?
we can end it on this. I found the press release.
Oh, good.
So,
Perfect.
May 31st, 1972, for immediate release.
Uh-huh.
The Rise and Fall of the World as Seen from a Sexual Position, a sexual satire.
Uh-huh.
Starring Carol Doda, opens world premiere engagement at Presidio Theater. The Rise and Fall of the World as Seen from a Sexual Position will open its world premiere engagement at the Presidio Theater in San Francisco on Thursday, June 15th, the other day. Starring Carol Doda, the feature-length color film was produced, written, and directed by co-star Arthur Meyer, not Oscar, but Arthur Meyer, and features cameo roles by the Cockettes. An erotic satire that parodies the styles of Fellini, Busby Berkeley, and Woody Allen.
Wow.
The Rise and Fall of the World depicts the sexual fantasies of a suburban couple as it explores the follies and foibles of sexual mores and practices. The tongue-in-cheek epic features a supporting cast of Neil Trussell, Roger Larson, Kitty Newman, and Ruth Weiss. Filmed in and around San Francisco, The Rise and Fall has a rock score by the Tubes. Wow. So this is before this is 4 or 5 years before they made a record or did anything like that. But they were a San Francisco local band.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting. Rise and Fall has a rock score by the Tubes and incidental music by Tchaikovsky and Ravel. Them. Production numbers include Carol Doda with the Bolshoi Ballet, boing, boing, singing Aida, and romancing King Kong atop the Empire State Building. I want to see it, yes.
But you're saying that there's no way to see it, right?
Not that I know of, but I'm going to look into it now. Because of the way the Cockettes did everything and how sort of untogether the stuff was and drug drenched everything, I always thought it was a play until just now when I did some research. So somebody must have.
Yeah, well, in that case, I'm glad this has been a productive thing. Because
yes, and now it's going to open up a whole other bunch of questions.
Good. Glad to hear it.
The search.
Yeah.
I love the search.
All right. Speaking of which, I'm gonna search for tomorrow, and thanks so much for taking part in tonight,
Thank you.
and
No problem.
I'm all for you coming back anytime. This is lovely, and we will talk soon. Howie, good night, good night, good night.
Let's talk soon, and let's do it again soon.
Yeah, until
Maybe
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Until tomorrow, folks. Good night, good night, good night.